What's up, guys? It is Ads once again. Good afternoon, everyone. It is wonderful to be here again. It's been an interesting couple of weeks for me, and I've been missing my streams. I really have. Today's a bit of a different one. I'm not sure how I like, speaking just solo on my streams anymore. I like interviewing. It's always been my thing, but I wanted to have a conversation with everyone who's willing to watch today about COVID, about actually having COVID, the symptoms, what you feel, what I felt. So for those who don't know, just a few weeks ago, I unfortunately contracted COVID. I have no idea how or where or whatever the case may be, but I had quite a nasty time with it. It almost took me apart, to be honest with you. So I just wanted to share my experiences rather. I've come to understand that it seems no two people experience COVID the same. Everybody may have very similar symptoms, and that person might have this symptom where you didn't, sort of thing. So I'm finding that very interesting at the moment. But what I find interesting more than anything is, there's so many naysayers out there who are speaking about COVID like it's this secret government plots to control everybody's minds and movements and. I mean, the fact of the matter is, it's simply a super flu. Everybody's aware of how many people have died of flu over the years, and year on year the numbers are quite massive. But what we've got here is it's nothing more than a super flu. Having experienced it myself, I must say it is easy to see how it can easily kill even the strongest of people. I think we're at a stage in the pandemic now where most of us know of somebody, or somebody knows of somebody who's in turn knows of somebody who has passed on from COVID. It's a very unfortunate thing. We've lost some pretty big names in the medical field. On Edenville's side, at least, some doctors that I've known for many years, just gone. Neighbors, friends, family. So it's always been a serious thing in my mind, and I think I got drawn into a, how do I say, let's just say that I shared the opinion of some folks out there who developed a whole bunch of theories about COVID and why it's here and why it was created and all this sort of shit. The fact of the matter is, it's a serious illness. It's a serious thing. We need to start taking it more seriously. We need to start acting and then taking the steps that government have put in place for us. At the end of the day, they're there to protect us. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm the first person to speak badly about government. I think they're fucking useless. Honestly, I could go on for another 2 or 3 shows of just how inadequate our ANC government is. But that's not the point of the stream here today. The point of the stream here today is just to share my story and share my experience with the virus and sort of what I went through, and how I've sort of come right. I'm actually sick at the moment. I've got a I've got a bit of a viral chest infection or something like that going on. That's phlegmy and all of that. It is literally just it's about 3 weeks after my recovery from COVID, or 3 weeks since the symptoms disappeared. So it was the 7th of February this year. I'd been feeling under the weather for a couple of days. Sort of strange symptoms like I had just massive headache. What were my symptoms? I'm just trying to look back now. This is very much freestyle. Um, yeah, I had a very, very sore throat, and just some common cold symptoms that nobody would really look twice at. And obviously, I've got, I live around elderly. My mother, I got to consider. My sister's also got respiratory medical conditions, and so I thought to myself, well, I need to go and I need to investigate. Let me go get a COVID test. I went to the Amelia thingy lab, and I got them to just give me a swab, and I waited for that sort of result. And then so I went and I got my COVID test, and I sort of put myself in isolation immediately. My landlords also live on the property, so I needed to sort of segregate myself from them because they themselves are elderly, and I would never want to put anybody at risk. So I isolated, and I got my results a little while after that, and the results were negative. So I thought, okay, well, that's absolutely fantastic, and I carried on with my life. I took my son for the weekend. I had Owen. He had come over, and obviously I had my girlfriend around, Chanel. She was around as well. So I was in close contact with certain people, and I just wasn't getting better. I just seemed to be getting worse. So I I basically ended up going for a second test. Um, I was almost certain at that point that I did have it because I had lost my sense of taste, which it's quite a strange thing, really, because the possibility of having corona creates such paranoia within oneself that you almost start, I don't know, hallucinating symptoms. I don't know what the correct term would be. You almost create them in your head, which is, I think, the battle that I was having. I was trying to decide if if I had indeed lost my taste, or if I had, or if I was imagining it. I wasn't 100% sure. So I wasn't 100% certain. Sorry, guys. Sorry, my youngster's making some noise there. So I had lost my taste and my sense of smell. Um, it's a very strange thing. I mean, if it's never happened before, it's something that you haven't experienced. You can almost tell temperature when you do eat or drink something, and not much more than that. So it's a very, very, very strange thing to have. So, when I had that going on, I figured, shit, well, I must have it. I must have something. So, I went and I got another test. The test this was a couple of days later. So the test came back positive. Um, I just remember being sort of shocked, thinking, "Geez, didn't I just go for a test the other day?" And I was a little bit surprised to realize that it was indeed positive. But I mean, on the plus side, I knew where I stood. That makes sense. So I came back. I put myself straight into isolation. I had notified everybody that I'd been around. My son went for a test. My girlfriend went for her tests and all of that. And thankfully, both came out negative. Um, Obviously, very worried that they would both end up having it. Um, so anyway, I mean, it continued. I followed through and I went with the flow. I went through the motions. By this stage, I had some of the more advanced symptoms like body aches. My entire body was so sore that I struggled to move. So we're talking joints, we're talking every fiber in your body just aches, 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 aches. I had very bad abdominal pains. It felt as if honestly, yeah, I mean, it felt as if my kidneys and my liver were having a fight. I mean, it's almost felt, there was an uncomfortable pressure there. My throat was raw. It literally just felt like bloody mucousy membrane. That's all that was going on. My chest, I found myself, battling to breathe at one particular point. My chest very tight. My breath short. This was a very strange one for me because I'll explain a little bit later why that's strange. But I carried on. I carried on just sort of in bed. Couldn't really do much. I was very, very, very much just man down. I couldn't eat. I would just, I would battle to get to sleep because of the pain. But when I did sleep, it was in short increments, so a couple of hours at a shot. And then, it's a very lonely place to be. It's obviously you can't have people around you. My landlords are the most amazing people. They did whatever they could to take care of me. They would pop in and just put something on the table and sort of dash out the door. Try to leave me food, try to get me to sort of eat. But in my position, all I could really do was just look across the room and stare. I didn't have the energy to physically get up and go there. My knees felt weak. It felt like I would just sort of fall over. So it went on like this. Throughout the whole cycle, I lost a total of 11.7 or 11.8 kilos in just under 2 weeks, and that's a massive amount of weight. So like I said, it's impossible to eat, and when you do eat something, it's not really satisfying because you're not getting any of the flavor profile of anything. So it's strictly for survival. I try to keep my fluid intake up, but obviously that presented other challenges like getting to the bathroom and all of that. As embarrassing as it is, on one particular night, I haven't done it since I was about 4 years old, but I actually peed myself in the bed. I needed to go to the toilet so badly, but I couldn't get up. I literally did it. Peed, like slept in my own pee. It's degrading and horrible, but it's the reality of it. So I couldn't get to the bathroom. And then I believe it was the following morning. I'd woken up and my breaths were so shallow and my chest was so tight in my body. I felt like I was dying. Like that would be my last day. And I got a hold of the landlords and I said, please, I need a little bit of help. Can somebody organize an ambulance here because something is not kosher. So they were kind enough to call on an ambulance, and in the time that this had happened, I had fallen asleep again. So I had completely forgotten that I had indeed asked for an ambulance, and I was awoken to two yellow people. Anyway, I could describe them, yellow people in my room. And I remember the confusion. I didn't know what was happening because I was so used to not seeing people. And then there were these two folks in yellow jumpsuits with all this COVID PPE gear and all sorts of shit on. And I remember the just sheer confusion. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know who they were, what they wanted. I they were touching me and prodding me and asking me shit, and I was just like, yeah. So they took my blood pressure, and bear in mind that I'd been literally in bed for days, very limited movements, not a lot going on. Blood pressure shouldn't really be as high as it was. And my blood pressure in bed was something like 196 over 116 or something along those lines. It was stupid. So, yeah, and strangely, they checked my blood oxygen saturation levels, and it wasn't too bad. At one particular point, I had taken my oxygen, prior to this, and it was about 88. And if you ask my sister, who checks her oxygen and my oxygen quite regularly, I'm normally about 97 or 98. So, it was a drop for me. 10 points less than it should be, or normally is. But when when the paramedics come and they check that, it seemed to be all right. But I was still experiencing very, very tight chest. I was struggling to breathe. It was sore to breathe. My body just aching. So they decided, okay, cool. So they were gonna load me up, and they were gonna take me through to the hospital. Not my proudest moment. I took a trip. I was half dead there. Thank you to the Netcare paramedics. They were absolutely fantastic. Very, very good bunch of people. Um, Dealt with me very nicely. Very professional. Great bedside manner. They took they took my temperature only in the ambulance, strangely, and my temperature was almost 39 degrees. So I was struggling with a fever there as well. That that's another thing, is the night sweats. I don't know, hot, cold, not. It was horrible. It was easily the worst illness I've ever had. Um, and to think that people have it so much worse, it's scary that it can get, well, even worse than that. So anyway, the ambulance took me through to the Raise Acres Hospital. They put me in an isolation ward, whatever, room. And yeah, they examined me for a bit, checked this, checked that, strapped me up to this, and yeah, they popped me on a drip. Eventually, the first one was painkillers because, geez, the pain that I was in was immeasurable. It was the worst pain I've ever been in my life. My whole body, everything, just aching and throbbing at once. It was shockingly shit. That said, they then popped a bag of electrolytes on afterwards because I wasn't eating, and at that stage not really drinking properly. So I was dehydrated. I was energyless. I was just finished. One of my mates stayed at the hospital there for, he was said, around 5 hours, but to me it honestly just felt like two. I believe that in between drips or whatever, I just sort of slept on the bed thing. But they said he waited there for me for 5 hours. After 5 hours, they said, I must just go home and I must isolate and just continue. There was nothing more they could do for me there. Thank God, I didn't have to. Excuse me. That I didn't have to end up on oxygen or anything like that. So I went home and I sort of continued my recovery. Within about 3 days after that, I was starting to feel a lot better. I was starting to shed some of the symptoms that were obviously bugging me. I basically got my sense of taste and smell back about a week and a half later, after the rest of the symptoms had disappeared. I felt I still don't quite feel 100% after it. A couple of examples are I play indoor soccer every Thursday. I was putting it off week after week just because, well, I wasn't 100% ready, and I thought I was. And I went and I played a game, and the funniest thing of all is it's almost as if your lung capacity changes, and I didn't really have major issues with my lungs. During this whole thing, I had tight chest, I had, all of that, but there was nothing that they really found that said, okay, shit, we got a problem here. I didn't ever end up on oxygen. Okay, no, that's a lie. I did have a home oxygen machine that I used here and there, but there was no real issues with my lungs. But I played the match and I finished it, and I almost died. I almost died. It felt like there was blood on my lungs, and I realized after having to catch my breath for about 45 minutes with my girlfriend rubbing my back for about an hour that I probably wasn't ready. It's taken a long time let's just say it like this. It's taking a long time for my energy levels to come right. Appetite is pretty much back. Those 12 kilos are going to come back very quickly. But yeah, the body aches and stuff, it just took a toll. Just absolutely no energy at all. Hey, you got a question here from Kendonius. What was the timeline from feeling yuck to half dead, speedy decline, or fluish for a while? Well, Ken's, excuse me. In my instance, it was like a situation of didn't feel too bad this week, absolutely half dead in hospital next week. That was that's the best sort of guidance I can give you. I felt it was quite funny because even my doctor said it. When I went for my first COVID test, I felt shit. I was feeling cucky, man. I had symptoms and basic symptoms, and the test still came out negative. But a couple of days later, it came out positive. And sort of that's why I said to you yesterday, sort of from that first positive result, within a couple of days of that, I started feeling really, really, really shit to the point where I was paralyzed. But just keep this in mind, Kens. Not every person has it the same. So, I know that you guys that do have it and you're, a bit worried and stressed about it, but just go with the way you feel. I know a lot of people that have had it, and not everybody has it the same. Not everybody has it bad. It's just very important to, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming you guys are consulting a doctor, but let me just tell you what I find freaking surprising: the deadliest pandemic in years, and you literally leave hospital with a pack of Calcivita or Barocca. This is how we treat one of the deadliest pandemics since I don't know, the Spanish flu. So it's very scary that medical doctors can literally only give you vitamin D and C and then say, good luck. So you got to sort of just ride it. If you are in any pain, take your painkillers. If you don't have any of this sort of crap, then get it. I can't tell you whether it helps or not, but I was feeling so crap at that stage that they could have given me dog shits on a spoon and I would have taken it religiously just to feel better. So, stick with whatever your doctor has told you, but you've almost just got to batten up the hatches and just ride the wave. You may start feeling worse. You may not start feeling worse. For your sake, I hope you do not. I hope you guys just have it easy. Keep your body hydrated. Make sure you eat regularly. And 2 weeks time, Kens. Excuse me. Things will look very different. Thanks, Ames. Appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, in conclusion, I'm still not 100% myself just yet. I do struggle with lung capacity and energy levels on certain days. It has taken a toll on me. What it has taught me is a new respect for the rules and the policies that have been put in place to protect us. Wear your mask. Um, it's actually quite funny because I quite literally always wear my mask. I am almost never in public without it. Not almost, never. I'm never in public. I abide by the rules. I try to social distance where I can. Um, and yet I caught it. I still to this day have no worldly clue where I got it from. Everybody that I was near didn't have it at all. So it just goes to show that whether you whether you follow procedure or not, that you can catch it. It's it's just, yeah, you could take all the preventative measures. Don't risk it, especially if you've got loved ones you're trying to protect. Don't risk it. Do you think COVID is as bad as they make it out to be? I think it is terrible, to be honest with you. Having contracted it, and geez, I had it pretty bad. And like I said earlier, the scary thing is I didn't have it as worse as some people. I think it's freaking really bad. It's honestly the sickest I've ever been in my life. Not being able to breathe nicely is not great. And being so dead that you pee yourself in your bed at night because you cannot take 5 steps to go to the bathroom without falling over. So yeah, I'm going to say it's bad. Has governments and companies and individuals taken advantage of it for their own gain, such as getting rid of staff that they don't need to, pillaging the COVID relief fund? Absolutely, they have. They absolutely have. Africa, they're going to take advantage of every little thing that they can. But the actual illness itself is as bad as they make it out to be. It absolutely is. It's very, very dangerous. It's easy to see how it can kill somebody. Um, I'm quite lucky to still be standing here. That particular morning when I went to hospital, I did think that was it. It didn't bother me at all. I made peace with it. I was going to go visit Dad, but it's the fact of the matter is you just got to watch your back out there. You got to take it seriously. You got to be careful, because whether it's real or not, or whether it's bad or not, or whether it's a conspiracy or not, or whether the government is just fucking things up or not, you got to consider the next person. You got to look at the people you live with, the people you work with, the people who. That's what you got to keep in mind. You got to be selfless. It's a selfless act of just doing something that sucks, like wearing a goddamn mask all day for the sake of other people. So I wouldn't want to go through. I wouldn't want to go through it again. I mean, let's put it that way. And yeah, no, they do take advantage. I mean, every South African knows the plight of our country under the ANC. We know that they are classic takers, absolute takers, and it's no surprise that there's been corruption and illicit acts of just pillaging our funds and taking sheer advantage of it. But it's not just government; it's the private sector as well. How many companies out there are getting rid of people that don't actually need to? Having been a victim of retrenchment due to COVID myself, it's very hard for me to see certain lifestyles that people live, while some of us struggle for the basics out here. what pisses me off the most is that the unemployment fund is so inadequate, it's not even funny. So I've got a lot of things to moan about, which I will in shows to come. But yeah, it's yeah, would you say that you're not scared of death? Not really. Um, once upon a time, yes, I'm not afraid of death anymore. I'm on the right side of God. I've got the right people up there fighting for me. And quite frankly, life down here is it's not that great. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I think I'm on the right side of God. I got nothing to worry about. Did I get your stuff sorted? The answer there is absolutely not. It's been August, September, October, November, December, January, February. It's been a bit, yeah, like 7 months, and no, I've got a broker working on it for me, and it's the same answer from the unemployment fund themselves. It's they basically just say that there's a backlog, and people need to be patient, and that's another thing that's a joke, because not everybody has the money to float themselves through this pandemic. Not everybody has the money to buy bread and milk for their kids. If you sit and you pay into this fund your whole life, your whole career, rather. And then when it comes time to claim, sorry, you just got to wait because there's a backlog. It's an unfortunate reality, but I mean, again, it's no surprise to any of us what an absolute fuck up the ANC is and every government department. But we pray for better days. That's all we do. Um, but yeah, guys, I'm gonna conclude it there. I'm sorry, I know it has not really been an exciting stream. I'm not, like I said, not feeling too well myself at the moment. So yeah, hopefully I'll have some better content coming up. Thanks for everyone who's stayed and watched, and obviously, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please go ahead and do that. I'm going to be changing the focus of my channel in the weeks to come, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, guys, please be safe out there. Wear your mask. Just do everything you can to not get sick, to not spread. And let's hope to God that there's a plan for our economy, a plan for our jobs, and a plan for our future. Have a good day, everybody, and yeah, God bless.